Hi, I'm Josh Gitalis, and I want to talk to you about fear and its influence on inflammation. You know, fear has been a friend of ours for 2.6 million years through human evolution. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to respond in stressful situations and either fight or flight, run away. We would not be here today without fear. Fear is an emotion that originates in the amygdala, and it gets stimulated when we perceive something as threatening and activates the sympathetic nervous system that then releases certain hormones to help us deal with that situation. Now, that activation of the sympathetic nervous system puts on some brakes to inflammation, but also puts on some gas to inflammation. Now, the brakes side of things is related to the hormone cortisol, which is actually a really potent and helpful anti-inflammatory. And rightly so. If you get cut or injured in a stressful situation, you want to be able to deal with that inflammation. There's even drugs like prednisone and steroids that help to bring down inflammation very effectively, and they are similar to the steroids we make in our body. The problem arises when we have chronic stress or a chronic fear response. Our cortisol receptors can actually lose sensitivity over time. It's like that solicitor that's knocking on your door every day. The first day you answer the door, you say, "What do you want?" And you're not interested in their product, so you say, "Go away." But then they come back the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And finally, you lock the door, turn your doorbell off, and don't even answer them or listen to them. That's what happens when we lose cortisol sensitivity. The receptors stop listening to the cortisol. And as I mentioned before, we have the increased inflammation response and the decreased. The decrease that puts on the brake to inflammation gets less and less and less and less. And this pushes and predisposes you to a higher inflammatory state. So when it comes to fear and that stress response, a little bit is good, but too much over too long can be detrimental. We want to be able to control what comes into our nervous system. I sometimes say that our fear door has a bouncer that can be educated. That bouncer is how we perceive things. We want to look at different sides of the situation, educate ourselves as much as possible with the information provided, and then leave that aside. We can also engage in activities that help to lower cortisol, what I call stress processing. Yoga, meditation, deep breathing, all of these things that help us to get in parasympathetic mode. And it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different favorite. This stuff seems a little bit abstract at times, like deep breathing and meditation, but they have significant, measurable, physiological, beneficial consequences. They help to clear that cortisol and thus help to bring down inflammation, increase sensitivity, and make us better able to cope with a real stressor when that stressor comes along. I hope that's helpful for you. Thank you.